One of the game I was playing simultaneously with 7 of my students. I like to review and I like to show how I make mistakes and what are the things I have done like greatly. So let's see. So I choose like Queen's Pawn opening and Black play in E6. So knight F3 and D5. So this is uh, so actually the book move is C4. I play something not as good as C4. If I play C4, this is Queen's Gambit Decline, a very famous opening. Knight C3, this is something I saw a lot of players have made, which is, as I said, not as good as C4 because it blocked the C pawn. And C pawn is really important in Queen's Pawn opening because you can basically attack the center with this pawn. And since we don't have the e4 at the very beginning, so if we want to fight against at the center, so c pawn is a very useful piece. And it's also same for black. So for example, if a black play knight c6, that's not as good as pushing the pawn c5. Or we can wait developing knight c6 until we pushing the pawn. Or maybe we can move the knight to d7. So this is about how we coordinate pieces in the opening. And c5, yeah, that's quite good. I think that's a good move. And I take the pawn, so I think it turned out to be a bad move because it helped black developing bishop. And the other thing I think black could do, sorry, I just interrupt. I just realized actually we can also do knight to f6 because we can have a very strong control at e4, and this square is also very important for black to control. Otherwise, so I feel like I can actually push pawn to e4. So if you take, I can take, and if you take my pawn, I can probably take my queen. And if you take, I will take with my knight, and I have two knights at center. I have a quick piece development. And knight c6, I can maybe trip the knight. King take. I can probably develop bishop to e3. So then maybe long castle, moving my rook to d1 to check the king. So white has a very quick like piece development. So I think we can hold on the c5 bit, maybe knight f6 first, controlling the e4. That's pretty important because white has blocked the c pawn. So if we can control the e4 squares, then white doesn't have really good way to um, like control or pushing the pawn to the center or close to the center. So knight f3, knight f6 is something I recommend. So I should play e4, but I made a mistake exchanging the pawn. So I think I can still play e4. Yeah, that's something. It's not as good as I pushing e4 before the pawn exchange, but it's still the thing I should do. And then after knight f6, it's becoming a bit harder. Black has another piece attacking e4. So I'm thinking maybe I need to think about developing like castling, and I thought about like e3 and bishop out and castle, but it feel like I need more steps, so I decided to like long castle, and probably I can attack the center with my rook and queen controlling d5 and long castle. Oops, misclick. So actually, I think black can pay my c3 knight and the knight e4. This one is really annoying. Maybe I need to pay the knight, but black can kick my bishop. If I go back, g5, I should probably take and the queen take. And again, there's a very high pressure on the c3 knight. So black play bishop d7, developing the bishop, or maybe castle. I think it's right time to make the castle to make the king safe, because white has castle, and probably e4 is the next move. So d7, I'm thinking I don't have much time in the simultaneous game, but if I can think a bit more, maybe I should play e4. I don't think I will lose the pawn. Take, for example, knight g5. I can get the pawn back, and the thing is, since my queen is attacking the sun bishop, black cannot really castle. So if you play f5, I can probably move my bishop to d6 to even like stop controlling the d5 d6 square, or maybe bishop to c4. There's a very great diagonal my bishop can control. So yeah, so a learning for myself is I have a quicker castling than my opponent, so it's probably good to open up the center as soon as possible. But actually I missed this opportunity after h3 and g4. I just want to attack the king side, but actually it should be slower than I expected. So here, so black should play d4. So I cannot really take the pawn. There are two minor pieces guarding the pawn, and my knight cannot reach these two squares. Black has very good control. If I play knight b5, I think it turned out to be my knight will be kicked again. A6 or even knight e4. Attacking f2. I need to move my queen to e1. And how about bishop b4? And is a string trapped. Queen, bishop knight d2. So basically all of my pieces are stuck around this area, and the queen can attack the knight, attack the pawn, and if my king away, I will lose the So I want to lose my knight, but this is pinned. This is really annoying, and I think I will lose the knight or the pawn. So yeah, so I think d4. So the thing is, black has a really great control at the center, and since the black king has a castle, so it's pretty safe to pushing pawn at the center to adding pressure to white. So here black played queen e7 and bishop g2. I deal my pieces and rook e8. I think rook e8 is unnecessary in my opinion. So because if you really want to push pawn to e5, can I push it? Maybe bishop g5, the knight will be pinned. But the thing is, if we really want to support e5 square, we already have two pieces, right? I don't think adding a rook is the necessary thing we need to do. And also, again, d4 is I think better or more active than pushing pawn e5. And also I think since look at the position of the kings, so I anticipate the game will turn out to be opposite attack, which means black should pushing the pawns at the queen side as soon as possible, and white, because white already have two pawns like g4 and h3, so either side should attack the king of the opponent. So rook to e8, I don't think the battlefield will be happening at the e5 square. So we should either like attack at the center or attack as the queen side, and maybe later move the rook to c8 and then b8. So king b1, I don't remember why I moved king b1, to be honest. Maybe I should push the pawn as soon as possible. D4, it's still a very dangerous move for white. So black offer a exchange. Maybe black want to move pieces to b8, the rook. So black want to exchange with my bishop. But actually I can play e4. So I can fight back at the center since the queen is hanging. And I should definitely do that. And after exchange, I will have a isolated pawn. This is a weakness. But I missed this opportunity. I just exchange the knights. And knight b5. I think that's better. And I can take the pawn. So maybe play e5, there is some problem with that. The d4 is a weakness because white has a lot of pieces targeting the d5. So maybe take the knight and bishop c6, and then let's say take bishop c6, guarding the pawn. So if I play e4, then I can play e5 because black has two minor pieces guarding d5. I cannot take that with the queen. If the queen goes down, I can play d4 to make the pawn secure, and once my queen moved away, the knight has to go away. So this sounds like a good plan. So e5, I exchange the knight. That's I think that's not good. Maybe it is a okay. So maybe g5. There's a tactic here. So g5, knight to h5. I can do something like this, and I'm attacking the rook, and also I'm attacking f7. So there is discover attack. And if the queen goes, for example, to I don't know e7, I can take the rook and I can win the bishop later. So I will be winning material. If bishop to e6, block this pass. So if I take the rook, queen takes, queen takes, take. No, this is not a good move. Maybe take the rook, take my queen. So I have 7 pawns, like 2 pawns up, and black has a bishop and a knight. I think my pawn structure is great. The position of the knight is not very well, so maybe white is slightly better. So this is something maybe I should do to kick the knight away and attack at the center. But I missed this one. I didn't even think of this opportunity. So I think e4 is bad because after d4 my knight goes away, and the thing is this diagonal is really bad for me. Knight g3, g6. Yeah, this is something I need to highlight. So I think first of all black should attack the queen side as soon as possible with, for example, pushing pawn to c4, c3 to attack on the b file, or maybe move the rook to b file. So g6. So when we defend, so usually like if we push the pawn in front of the king like downward, it actually makes easier for your opponent to create a pawn break, because I only need like 2 steps to move the pawn to h5 and no further exchange, and then I will have a open or semi-open file. So if I have the 3 pawns like as low as possible, it's 1, 2, 3. It takes 3 steps for the pawn to reach h6 and offer the pawn exchange, and also we can play like g6 later, and there the lines, the files are closed. So if you don't have a very strong reason, don't push your pawn, regardless it's g6, h6 or f6. So maybe we are afraid of knight h5, but knight h5 is not a big problem. So for example, if we play c5, knight h5, we can take. So what could be the threat from white? Yeah, let's move the rook. Let's see which side is quicker. Attacking the pawn, and if queen to g5, and it's not problem. So we can either play rook b6, and we can play f6. So you know what the thing is, when we play f6, so because we have a rook guarding g7 and the queen go back, so even though I let like white take my pawn, my king is still safe. I can use the g7 pawn to guard my king, and this is some tactic we usually use when we defend. That is using the pawn from opponent to block the file, and then the threat to b2 is really yeah, we can take the pawn. So if b3, then we can just leave it as it is, and c4. Yeah, and then sacrifice a bishop to open up the b file, and I think black is winning here. So g6, this is something I think that's a very important thing we need to learn in this game. h4, yeah. So I can attack the g6 pawn and open up the h file. But I think black is still better because black already has a semi-open file. I still need 2 steps to open up the h file, but black clearly has already h file. So actually there's a rook b2, check, king c1, queen a3, checkmate. What else? King a1, queen a3, checkmate in one move, and c4, take with a pawn, and then rook b2. So black is winning. Yeah. So unfortunately, black missed this opportunity. Take. The f pawn is great because we opened up this 7th rank and we can protect the pawn with our rook. That's actually a good defense. Rook h6. Yeah, this is. I also missed rook b2. Otherwise, I should put b3. B3. So, what should we do? Actually, let's see if we can sacrifice and use another rook. Using, or maybe later, queen a3. Yeah, now we can sacrifice. d3 or check and d3. d2. Yeah, so white will lose the rook. So we can sacrifice. So here black play queen a3. I think that's also a good move because regardless we still need to move queen to a3. But maybe white can offer a queen exchange. Yeah, maybe I can play queen c1. So I play this move. Yeah, I think we need to sacrifice. So I think the moves are pretty clear. d3, go down and check or checkmate. Yeah. So black choose the a file to attack, and I move king up because I want to make my king like escape. So again, bishop d3 is still a move we can make. Take the pawn, go down. We can play rook b3, queen a1. This rank is open up. King goes to d2. We can check, and queen goes to c2. We can queen c3. This queen is pinned. Yeah. So I think the problem is black made the move so quick. It just take 5 seconds. Yeah, 5 to 10 seconds. So actually black has 4 minutes more than white. So it's definitely worth for us to calculate instead of moving the queen to a1 so quick. And it's not hard to anticipate how the white king, where the white king would go. Check. Yeah, king goes to e2. So black realize there is no clear way to check the king. But actually, you know what? I think because white is quite slow in attacking the king. First of all, the white should like capture the h7 pawn. It's not a check. The queen is super hard to move to the king side, and the queen has to guard, for example, this diagonal. So the knight cannot really move closer to the king without being taken. The bishop, the same. The bishop is really stuck. So actually, I think black can keep attacking. So for example, knight c5, we can involve more pieces to attack. The queen, for example, maybe we worry about the queen h7, and it looks like white can checkmate us in two, but actually it turned out to be wrong. Black can check the king first, and if we play f3, so we can take the queen. If you check, my king can go up. Check again, king goes to e6, and the king is quite safe at e6. And if you take my rook, I mean, black I think has a lot of way to like freaking check. Is queen e3 a check? Do checkmate. Yeah. So now, even though we don't find the way to checkmate, we can like check like this, and yeah, I think black has a lot of way to win. And the king goes to f2, the queen can step in, and there's no way white can checkmate our king. We can like move it to c5. It's still safe. So knight c5, and if white doesn't take the pawn, white, for example, it has to move the queen, for example, to f3. Then we can check queen b5, and the king goes to d2. We can sacrifice with the knight. Take, and the rook a2. I don't know. Maybe king d1 is better. And we check again. King go up. We can move the queen from a5. Like this. Go up, and the rook b3. Yeah, we have a lot of pieces at the queen side, so it shouldn't be hard to find out a way to checkmate the white king. And if the king doesn't, if white doesn't take the pawn, like rook d1, yeah, we can rook a1. That's a checkmate. Involve more pieces. No. Involve as many pieces as possible. So yeah, again, so thinking about time management, I think it's worse to, yeah, we spent 2 seconds. It's so fast, right? So white has only 9 minutes, and we have 40 minutes. And knight f8. So I played knight f5. So yeah, well, thinking about this move, so I'm sacrificing with the knight, but this is not a forcing sacrifice, which means black doesn't have to take the knight. So we need to think, if we don't take the knight, is there any further threat after knight f5? So maybe knight e7 and the king go up, and I actually don't see any like serious attack. So actually knight f5 is something I would say I made the move like hopelessly, because I have no way to open up the king side. So that's why I offer a knight, which I hope black take that, and then I can open up the g file, h file. So if we calculate through, if we figure out this move doesn't have any further serious attack, we can ignore it. So we can set up a plan. So for example, we can play queen c5, and later rook a2 to attack this c2 square, because this is a weakness. And yeah, and also queen can guard e7. So basically we can ignore this knight. So when we take, yeah, then I think white has a very good opportunity to push pawn to g6. So the game turned out to be very balanced. So I think the correct move for black to defend is, yeah, maybe sacrifice a pawn, and let's see if I can get, if take the bishop and queen a2 and rook b3 and then queen a2. Actually black's winning, so white shouldn't take the bishop after bishop b6. Maybe white should keep. Can I play g6? So you know what? Even though white played g6, I don't have to take the pawn. I can wait until white take my pawn, and I can play king h8, and the king is still safe. So queen a2, attacking c2. If take, yeah, black is still safe. We can use the h7 pawn to protect our king. And if queen g3, we can be quicker than our opponent. And remember, white has sacrificed a knight. So even though we like trade the queens, black is still winning. But we can take the pawn. And yeah, I think the white king is also is in serious danger. And we have another rook at b1, and that is checkmate. Yeah, so very unfortunately we play bishop d5. So you know what? So the light square bishop, the g2 square bishop is useless until black playing bishop d5, and then at least we can trade the bishop, and black cannot really take the bishop because the a6 rook is losing, and yeah, and not to say white actually have like if d take with the d pawn, I'm still winning the rook, right? Yeah, so bishop d5. Um, it's not, but maybe bishop f7 is even better than bishop d5. So g6, we don't have to take the pawn. We can sacrifice. Yeah, we can sacrifice for sure. So this is a bit slower than taking the pawn straight away without moving it backward to f7. So taking b3 is better. Cool. I think the learning for myself as white is in opening. I definitely play very wrong in opening. So I didn't play c4 and I exchanged the pawn too early. I also have problem at the center. So if black play d4, my knight doesn't have any good way to move. So when I attack, so I chose the wrong side in the beginning. So if you remember, so actually I have a good opportunity to attack the center instead of attacking on the king side, because it turned out like black is like quicker than me attacking the queen side. So I should like when I have a queen and the rook at the d file, I should play e4 when I have a chance to attack at the center. So in the yeah, when my opponent like attack my king, so actually I think the good thing for me to do is always find a way to make my king escape, like queen d3 and the king goes to e2, and this is something like giving me a breath to take, and then I figure out a way, just trying to fight back as much as possible to find a way to like I would say like flip the game, because I was totally down in the middle game, and then I find a way to fight for an opportunity to win. So for my opponents, for black's perspective, I think black doing really great at the opening. It has a very good control side, a solid control at the center. But I think black can take advantage of it more. So for example, like d4, this is something I have shown. I think that the first mistake black has made is rook to e8, and we all see that eventually the rook moved to b8. So we can actually make like rook b8 in one move instead of rook e8 and rook b8. So we waste one move with rook e8. And another thing is g6. So as I said, so this is something make it easier for white to open up the h file. And the last thing is we should be more determined, or we should at least spend more time to think about like open up the files, like sacrificing bishop or rook, or like rook b2. So black actually have, if I remember correctly, at least 3 times to sacrifice pieces to open up the files, right? Especially before queen a1. Well, now queen a2, I think, yeah, since a2 pawn is removed, I think we should definitely calculate the possibility to sacrifice either the bishop or the rook at b3. Yeah, so that is a learning. Good game.